But it wasn't sincere because she's had a long history of saying woke, annoying things. Our new Snow White,
Rachel Zegler, is extraordinarily woke, but she's woke in a way that's quite...
Rachel Zegler is in full meltdown mode after her Evita scam exposed her as the queen of bad PR, where fans who paid got stuck watching a screen while random people outside enjoyed the real show. Add 5 years of box office flops, a $50 per screen, Snow White disaster, and ego-filled interviews comparing herself to ancient art. This is beyond pathetic.
After headline demonstrating the horrible reputation that she has made for herself because she just can't seem to keep her own thoughts in her brain.
Let's talk about the greatest scam to hit the London theatre scene since tourists paid to see Cats. Picture this. You're sitting inside the historic London Palladium, ticket in hand. Having forked over around £500, that's half a grand for a live performance of Evita starring none other than Rachel Zegler. You're expecting lights, drama, a real performance, maybe even a decent note or two. But what do you get? A jumbo screen. Yes, a giant glorified LED TV, because Rachel, instead of gracing the stage like a normal paid performer, decides to climb a balcony like a singing Rapunzel and belt "Don't Cry" for Cantina to people outside for free.
Paying customers were waiting to see her on stage, and she took off and headed to a balcony where she could belt out Evita's hit song "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina" live for free to strangers on the street.
So now the street gets the live vocals for 0 shillings, 0 anything. While you inside the building with a receipt and a credit card debt get a screen a live stream. You could have watched that on TikTok from your couch, and you wouldn't have been down $500 and a bottle of overpriced theater wine. People were so angry they were screaming. Refund in 4 languages. Or, the people outside probably thought there was a hostage situation happening inside. Nope, just Rachel Zegler, giving a masterclass in bait-and-switch PR disasters.
The film that bombed so hard that it only brought in $50 a screen over Mother's Day weekend is now somehow the #1 streaming hit on Disney+. And before you ask, you're going to say, how did this...
This isn't even shocking anymore. This is just the latest exhibit in Rachel's museum of self-inflicted chaos. Honestly, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if she launched her own theme park called Zeglerland, where you pay to get punked.
In the end, it's really not about talent. It's about watching someone who thought they were above it all finally get humbled. And as far as Hollywood drama goes, this is the sort that not a lot of people can look away from.
Let's zoom out a bit, shall we? This girl's been in the business for what? 5 years? Not 10, not 20, just 5. And in those 5 short years, she's managed to pull off something truly impressive. Complete career sabotage. She's been called box office poison before she even became box office. That's not even an insult. That's a record. 5 film flops in a row. Let me repeat that. 5 in a row. It's like she's allergic to success.
I disagree with this sentiment. Just hit the unfollow button. I don't need your business.
Babe, what business do you mean? As in the films that you act in? Like the one that failed at the box office a couple months later, spectacularly? Is that the business?
And not just flops. We're talking about torching almost $1 billion of studio cash. That's $1 billion with a B. That's enough money to fund an entire Marvel phase. But instead, it went into a Rachel Zegler-shaped hole of doom. And it all started with Spielberg's West Side Story in 2021, where she played Maria and somehow walked away with a Golden Globe. Sure, good for her. But right after that, she nuked her brand like she was speedrunning a PR crisis simulation.
Although I've seen lots of speculation that she's been blacklisted from Hollywood for the time being, Zegler is currently being considered for the role of Maria in the Sound of Music stage production, and I just have to wonder why on earth anyone hasn't learned anything from her previous experiences.
Now, usually in Hollywood, that's the setup for a redemption arc. You mess up, disappear for a while, come back humble, cry on Fallon, win back the crowd. But not Rachel. She decided she was too good for redemption. She wants to come back without the character development, and nobody's buying it.
She's very good at alienating not only her viewers, but just viewers in general with everything that she says and every social media post she makes.
Now, let's talk about the one that really sealed the deal. Snow White. Disney should have just titled it Snow Hype and Zero Heart. This was her big shot. But what did she do? She tore down the 1937 classic, like it was beneath her, calling it, evidently 1937. Like that's some kind of insult. Girl, yes, it was made in 1937. That's the point. It's iconic. It's historic. But instead, she trashed it like she was roasting a failed student film.
About the very first actress in history to become box office poison before she ever came box office. You know what I'm talking about.
And then she really doubled down. She called the prince in the original a stalker. A literal stalker. Like he's Joe from You just because he sang in the woods. And then she brags that Andrew burn-up scenes could be cut from the remake, laughing, like it's all one big inside joke. It's Hollywood, baby, she says, yeah, and you just played yourself. The cherry on top. The movie made about $50 per screen over Mother's Day weekend. 50 to 50, that's barely 2 overpriced sodas. Disney, in its delusion, tried to cover up the flop by announcing it was the #1 streaming film on Disney+. Convenient, right? No receipts, no numbers. Just trust us. Guys, it's doing great. We promise.
And they couldn't put dwarfs because this is just so typical of the left. The progressives always finding a way to find their way back to doing something not.
Meanwhile, fans felt like they were being spit on. First, she disrespects the source material. Then, she mocks the love story. Then, she basically suggests the male lead's role doesn't matter. And after all that, she expects people to still support her. Rachel, you can't slap the audience and then ask for applause. But nothing beats the absolute ego parade that is her public image. This woman actually compared herself to the winged victory of That's a sculpture in the Louvre. For those of you who skipped art history, a literal masterpiece, missing arms and all. And she thinks it's her spiritual twin. Like seriously, you think you're a divine relic because people still line up to see you despite your flaws. Girl, people line up to see traffic accidents, too. That doesn't mean you're the Mona Lisa.
It was a wholesome family film, and now they've turned it into woke trash. Check this out from Men Wokeness. Disney's Snow White said that harm should befall Trump and his voters. Do not see this film.
And if that wasn't enough, she told her psychiatrist, yes, a trained medical professional, that every inch of her body, inside and out, deserves to be worshipped. Not appreciated, not respected, worshipped. Then she follows it up by saying, my compassion has no boundaries, except when someone else is on screen. Then that compassion clocks out faster than a part-time barista on minimum wage.
And Rachel Zegler, being 23 or whatever she is, like so many kids raised on TikTok, she's all for infantata is the only global solution.
She even flat out said, I'm a narcissist. Like just casually in an interview as if that's a cute personality trait. Imagine saying that out loud and thinking it'll land as charming. No wonder studios are scared to hire her. She's not a risk. She's a walking HR violation with a ring light. And let's not forget the cheekbones. Yes, she actually said she manifested her cheekbones and dimples. Like she sat there with a vision board begging the universe for face bones instead of talent. Or, I don't know, basic humility. Who needs acting chops when you can just strike a pose and hope people forget your last movie bombed harder than Cats?
An iconic song, yes, but it's the balcony grabbing all the attention.
Asterisk 5 years in, 5 flops deep, a crowd of scammed theatergoers chanting, refund, a Disney disaster in the rearview mirror, and a woman so delusional she compares herself to ancient art while delivering balcony karaoke to people who didn't pay a dime. Rachel Zegler somehow thinks that fans are disposable props, not the people paying for her career. Remember that chilly bathroom story she proudly shared on Jimmy Kimmel? A fan innocently sings Maria to her as she's leaving the restroom, and instead of laughing it off or appreciating the support, she declares that it ruined her entire night. Really, someone sings your own hit song to you, and your first instinct is to storm out like it's the end of the world. Who even admits that on national television? Most celebrities would kill to have fans who care enough to hum a single note. But Rachel acts like she was personally victimized by a show tune. I can just imagine the fan watching that interview, cringing and thinking, wow, I paid for this woman's movie ticket with my hard-earned cash. And she's out here calling me a nightmare for singing one line.
There will be people who are disappointed that she hasn't sung it live in the theatre, but I think it's going to be greatly outweighed by the theatricality of using film in that way.
Asterisk, then she goes on and whines about having to pretend to love fans at the Snow White ride in Disneyland. Yes, you heard that correctly, pretend, as if standing there and taking photos with people who actually care about your career is some form of cruel punishment. This isn't jury duty. Rachel, these are fans who spent their money on your movies, and the least you could do is fake a smile without acting like it's the worst thing that's ever happened to you. If being polite to the people who made you famous is too exhausting, maybe it's time to consider another profession, because last time I checked, hating your audience isn't exactly the path to success. No one on the right side of America can stand the star of this movie. And it doesn't stop there. Outside the Palladium, while signing autographs, she's simultaneously lecturing people and campaigning for whatever trendy cause is currently buzzing on social media. It's like she can't just sign her name without turning it into a mini political rally. And the cherry on top, she ends it with a passive-aggressive, "That's enough now, I'm afraid." Oh yes, nothing screams gratitude like cutting off the very people who support you. It's the same tired pattern over and over again. Treat supporters like annoying background noise, then sit there puzzled when they don't show up at the box office.
No one on the right side of America can stand the star of this movie.